going on, YouTube? It's Wrath here, hanging out today, playing some Dawn of Gods. I want to thank you guys so much for coming to hang out with me today. If you liked the video, please make sure you smash that thumbs up button and show your support. If you haven't already, don't forget to subscribe as well. Alright guys, today I kind of wanted to talk about the best gods for defense, but aiming more toward the newer player, so your 4, 5, and 6 star gods, which are the best ones. So let's get into it, guys. We're going to go over here and we're going to go into the Divine Index and kind of look at them in here, just because it's kind of easier to navigate. And here we are at the 4 stars. We're going to start at the bottom, just because kind of help the newer guys up. If you're looking for the 5 and 6 star gods, you can just kind of skip ahead in the video until you find it. Alright, so we're going to start right here at the 4 star gods. So these aren't in order of like the best to the worst, really. It's just more of this is where they were when I found them. These are the ones you kind of want to go for because they have auto-proccing skills. This is important. Gods with active skills will never use their skill on defense, so even if they are stronger, they have more HP and attack maybe, it's still probably better to use a god with a skill because the skill is going to do a lot of damage really quick, usually. Or it has some other effect that's, you know, very beneficial. So we're going to start right here with Braggy. I think Braggy, who knows. He's good, not only because he has AoE damage on his summon, but it's a summon. It's an extra unit that's doing damage along with him. And it's AoE, so it helps you kill out enemy troops really fast. And that's good. You want to kill the enemy troops out quick. Another one here is going to be Dark Persephone. Dark Persephone is good because not only is she a tank god, which means she has a lot of health, but it also, her skill targets enemies, and it's AoE damage. So it's good for killing troops, but it can also lay a pretty good whooping on some gods too. Alright, now we got Mime. Mime's good because you'll notice he has a really high burst damage here. Down low at this range, like what's his HP? His HP is 776. He can almost one-shot himself with his skill. So it's good to have because he can actually kill a god like pretty much flat out. And that's always good. If you can knock an enemy's god out really early, awesome. So that's why you kind of want him for defense. Then we're going to go over here to Achilles. Now why is he at all good for defense? His skill doesn't do any damage. So like, why is that good? But as a tank god, you'll see he has a lot of health, and his skill actually blocks incoming damage as well. So essentially, he's got 660 extra health. You know, and the longer you can stall the enemy before they can get through your base, the more damage your defenses can do. And that's what you want. If you can stall an enemy out for a while, that's always good for your defense. So he's one you'd also want to look for on defense. Another one, which you actually get straight out the gate, is Heracles. The reason he's decent on defense is because he does AoE damage. He can damage gods and units, and again, those are two good things. You know, that you can't go wrong with that kind of skill. I'm going to scroll up here a little bit, and you'll see Medusa. The reason Medusa's okay, she's not the best. You'll see her damage isn't very high. And that's kind of like, you know, it's not going to do a lot of damage. But if she hits a god, she paralyzes them for 5 seconds. And if you can take a god out of a battle, even for 5 seconds, it can really change the way you defend. It can totally throw the attacker off, especially if it's one of his gods with an active skill that he uses, and now he can't use it for 5 seconds. That god's likely to die before it gets to use his skill. It's very good for you as the defender. Alright, so these last gods I'm going to touch on, they're okay for defense, but they're not the ones you really want to push for. They're alright because they have auto-proccing skills, but their skills don't do a lot of damage, and they're not like super important. I mean, it's if you have them, obviously you want these instead of an active skill, but they're not the best. We're going to start right here with Ramiel. I think that's what it is, Ramiel, I don't know. But he deals damage, and he increases his own damage by 34%. It's not a huge bunch of damage. He does do a little more damage himself, but again, his skill doesn't like, you know, paralyze anybody or do massive amounts of damage. It's one of those meh things. They're all kind of like that. Same here with Heru-Ur. I think that's what it is, Heru-Ur, maybe. I don't know, but he increases attack speed. He deals damage and increases attack speed. So he does attack a little faster, but again, it's not a huge bonus. Again, better than nothing, but not the best. Another one down here is, I think it's Cursed Eos. Yep. Deals damage and decreases their movement speed by 80%. That's not a bad one. It's probably one of the better ones, because, again, if you're slowing enemies down, your defenses get to shoot them longer. It's better for you. So she's not horrible. She does a little more damage than the other two. She's probably the better one of the ones I'm listing here. Then you got Thoth, or I guess that's how you say it, Thoth, maybe. Anyway, again, same thing. He deals damage and he decreases the enemy's attack speed. So, again, it's a little bit of a debuff, a little bit of damage. It's okay, but it's not the best. There's a couple of them I didn't mention at all. That would be like Erd, who heals people. Healers on defense are pretty much a bad idea all around, because usually that god's not going to be activated when your other gods are being damaged because of the way they're spaced out in the base. So it's really toss-up. Sometimes it can help, but usually it doesn't. Alright, so we're going to move up to the 5-star gods now. Right here. The first one on the list here is going to be Ares. If you spend any money at all in the game, like buying the monthly pass, you'll get him. He's really good on defense. He's actually really good on offense as well early game. But you have to spend to get him, so that kind of sucks. I mean, he's not like you can't do it without him, but he is good to have. The reason he's good is you'll see he casts 4 shockwaves at enemies, so it's targeted at the enemy or the gods, and it does 421 damage apiece. So essentially you're doing, what is that? 4 times, like 1600 damage in a single split second. That's good. That's big burst damage. You want that on defense. Alright, the next one here is going to be either. It can be one or the other because they both have similar skills. They're a little bit different, but Chained Fenrir, he summons 2 little bulls or whatever into battle that do damage on death. They attack people and they do pretty decent AoE damage. And the other one here would be Chessia. They kind of do the same thing, except for Chessia's probably a little bit better because her summons stay. Her? Is it a her? I don't know, it doesn't say. Probably a dude. We'll say it's a dude. Alright, so his summons actually stay with him after he summons them. So he does continuous extra damage, and he summons 2 of them. So his summons actually do 228 AoE damage apiece, and you get 2. So it really helps you wipe out enemy troops. It can actually help you kill gods pretty well too. Another one here is going to be Perseus. Right here. Right here, I said. There we go. Okay, Perseus. The reason he's decent is he's not only a tank god, which means he's going to have a lot of HP. He also has a self-healing skill that not only heals him, but also does damage. So he deals nearly 500 damage to his target, and he recovers about 1000 HP. So he's going to stall your enemy and do damage at the same time. So that's always good. You want that. Another one here, I'll just scroll around and find it, is going to be Ptah. Maybe it's Ta, I don't know, P silent, who knows. But again, you'll notice, kind of like Medusa, this is a paralyzer. But she paralyzes more than just one target. Medusa only does one target. I think this one does like 2 or 3, 4 maybe, I can't remember. You'll see the damage goes up a little bit, and she also paralyzes. So again, if you can paralyze a god, or troops even, that's good. You're stopping something from progressing into your base, and you're stalling them out. So that's always good. That's why you want those gods. Another one is going to be Sariel. Sariel? Again, who knows. But the reason this one's good is not only is he a tank, which has a decent amount of HP, his shield he summons actually reflects damage back to whoever's attacking him. So this can be really good for killing people's gods as they're attacking your gods. Because he's going to summon that shield and block 420 damage, and anything they're hitting him for is going to be reflected half of it back to them. So they're actually helping kill their self while they're attacking him. Great god for defense. Another really good one here is Tethys. Tethys? I guess that's how you say it. I'm going to mess a lot of these names up probably. Don't take offense to it. The reason her skill is so great is it attacks an enemy god. Pretty much specifically, unless there's no gods dropped or no gods in range. Usually that doesn't happen. More often than not, there's going to be a god in range. So she deals pretty much 1000 damage straight up to an enemy god when her skill's cast every 12 seconds. So that's really powerful. And gods are the biggest thing you got to defend against, so she's a really great defender. The last 2 I'm going to mention kind of go hand in hand. They're kind of like Chessia and Fenrir. Their skills do pretty much the same thing. It's going to be Azazel, who knows. But his attack kind of does a line. It does 2 little bursts of flame in a single line that does good damage. It's not bad. But since it goes in a line, you're apt to miss people with it. Like you'll hit one unit and then the second one does nothing. And then the other one is going to be down here, Gilgamesh. Gilgamesh does the same thing, except for he shoots 3 fire blasts in a line instead of 2, so he's probably a little stronger. but he's a mage god instead of a warrior god, so he attacks from range, so he's probably better all around. I would probably lean toward him over Azazel, but, you know, what are you going to do? Alright, so that's the 5 stars. Let's jump right into the 6 stars. Pia... We're not going to go into the event gods because you have to spend money to get them, and I think that's a big load of crap, so I'm not even going to go into that. Starting out with, probably hands down what I think is one of the best 6-star gods is Athena. Because, like Tethys from the 5 stars, she deals damage directly to an enemy god, but she deals a boatload of damage, 2100 damage. That would outright kill her. She could outright kill herself with her skill. So, that is huge, especially if you hit an enemy's healer that's a little weaker than the other gods. You can actually knock out their healer right at the beginning of the raid. And if you can do that, you're almost guaranteed to either win that defense or stop them much shorter than they would have gone. Another good one here is going to be Osiris. I haven't actually got him, which is really unfortunate. But his skill summons 3 spirits that attacks enemies, so it targets enemies. Again, that's always good. If there's only gods available, he's going to drop 3 spirits doing 600 damage to a god. Again, good burst damage, and he does it really quick, 12 seconds. Not bad at all. Another one up here I don't have, unfortunately, is Loki. Loki's kind of like a really buffed up version of Heracles. He does the same thing with his skill, but it does a lot more damage. Because it does more damage, he can wipe out a lot of troops really fast, or he can also bring a couple gods down really low in health really quick too. So he's a good one to look out for. Another one of my personal favorites was right up here. It's Gabriel. He's one of the paralyzing gods, but he paralyzes for 6 seconds. So he's got a little bit of longer stun when he hits him, and he does a little more damage, 520 damage. Again, anytime you can freeze a god or a unit, you're slowing down the enemy's progress into your base. And that's always something you're looking forward to, so obviously do that. Another great one, this is kind of like Chesia or Chain Fenrir, is Aphrodite. She summons 2 allies, but she does a little more damage, they have a little more HP, and I think they last a little bit longer as well. But again, it's a great way to kill troops, and it can also help deal more damage to gods. Another good 6-star god right here is going to be Selene. She's not only a tank god, meaning she's got, almost 4100 HP, but her skill actually summons a shield that keeps her from taking damage, and it heals her. So she's getting healed for 8 seconds, and she's blocking incoming damage. So she's going to stall enemies pretty well. That's what you're looking for. The longer it takes them to get to your base, the better off you are. The last 2 6-star gods I'm going to mention here are going to be down here on the bottom. It's going to be Samiel. He's a tank god, so he has a lot of HP. Unfortunately, his skill doesn't do any damage, which is kind of why he's not higher on the list, I guess. But it does heal him. He does get health, and it increases attack speed. So, he's not horrible. He does heal and stall a little bit. But I would say if you're going to use one of these 2 I'm mentioning, you should probably use Demeter instead. Because Demeter does 459 damage to 3 random enemies. So that could be a god or a unit. But she also heals herself by 1300 health immediately. So she's doing damage and healing herself a big chunk of health really fast, and she's a tank god just like Samiel, so she's got 4100 health. It's a really good way of slowing people down and doing some damage at the same time. So those are the 6-star gods. I'm not going to get into 7-star gods in this video because obviously the video would end up taking like 30 minutes, and I'm not into uploading that kind of stuff. I'm going to touch on the 7 stars in a different video. So there you have it, guys. Those are your best gods for defending from your 4, 5, and 6-star god categories. If you guys have any questions, comments, suggestions for future videos, be sure to leave them in the down there, and I'll do my best to get back to them. I hope you guys enjoyed the video, and I will see you guys next time.